the orange bastard, has reaffirmed that once he takes office, probably on day one, he's going to declare a national emergency, and he's going to use the military on American streets and villages and towns and cities and country roads. And he's going to do all this to fulfill his promise to round up and deport millions of innocent people. People who came here. I'm not talking about their legal status. I'm talking about the fact that the only reason they're here is because they came for a better life. And I just wonder if, not Trump's a fucking pig, but if all these Christian devils these people claim to be Christians who have supported Trump, I wonder if they're aware of the passage. Is it Matthew? As you do this to the least of these, my brothers, you're doing it to me. Now, I'm wondering, fuck no. Of course not. There's not an evangelical Christian who gives a shit about that passage. But I digress. There's some concern among observers, people who are experts on what's about to happen, because they're familiar with historical tactics by dictators to round up people. Look what happened in Germany in the 20s and 30s and 40s. To the Jews, look what's happened almost every fucking country they've ever lived in. I'm not talking about Israelis. I'm talking about Jews. Anyway, economic experts are concerned about what's going to happen because these immigrants contribute enormous value to the U.S. economy. We've touched on this before. And the fact that mass deportation is this sick son of a bitch Trump's goal, it's going to hurt food production. I mentioned this last week. You like chicken? Fuck you. Ain't going to be no more fast food chicken, dude. Because goddamn near every job chopping chickens into little pieces is done by people who are probably undocumented. Construction? Houses? Ah, shit. Adios. There goes your house. Half finished? Well, too bad. Trump just rounded up half the work crew because they are undocumented also. All sorts of crucial industries. People who do the shittiest jobs, cleaning office buildings after everybody's gone home. Cleaning up messes in the public streets. Cutting lawns. Using those goddamn blowers, trying to keep neighborhoods looking, I don't know, neat. I don't like the idea of these carefully trimmed and hedged and ridiculously looking postcard stamp style, whatever, yards. I think yards ought to just grow. You let it go until it gets big enough that there's snakes and foxes in there, and then maybe cut the lawn. But think about all the people. I mean, you travel around, right? You go to work, you go to the grocery store, you go to PTA, wherever you go. And me too. Notice the appearance of the people who are doing the shit work. How about all those people who stand in the street when there's some street construction going on? Maybe they're laying fiber optic cable. And you see all these, oh my goodness, they're all brown people standing there with the safety vests, with the signs that say stop, go, slow, right? Huh? The economic aspect of it is being addressed by people who understand this. And other scholars have analyzed how deportation traumatizes families. That's a word that the Christian devils don't like unless it's applied just to them. Families. You brown people, family. Look, the Christians did just a horrendous job on black families that were kidnapped and beaten and shoved into the holds of fucking ships and shipped to the United States. And then when they were taken out of the holds of the boats and put up on a fucking block to be sold off. Mama goes this way, daddy goes that way, the children go this way. And it didn't matter. The screams, the begging, the pleading, don't take my baby. Don't take my mama. Black folk in this country have an historic memory of that. White people don't. So we talk about how deportation traumatizes families. Well, okay. So do gas chambers. So do ovens. When, as Elie Wiesel watched and reported in his book Night, the corpses of children in the death camps being tossed into an open fire. Oh yeah, we've got scholars who know about this shit, huh? But right now, what they're talking about is deportation traumatizing families. And there's a website, The Conversation. Maybe you're familiar with it. The Director of Research, Academic Development, and Innovation at the Center on Terrorism, Extremism, and Counterterrorism. That's a hell of a title, but her name is Amy Cooter. And she has written a piece at The Conversation that's up on the internet today. She writes, I have an additional concern about a renewed focus on deportation as someone who has studied U.S. domestic militias for more than 15 years. And that's because some militia units may see it as their duty to assist with such efforts. In fact, Amy writes, local police may even deputize certain militias to help them deport immigrants. And quote from Amy Cooter. And there's more to what she wrote. She points out that militias are generally wary of the government. Yeah. They've even been known to use violence against politicians and government representatives, including the police. And Ms. Cooter says that she has found in her research that the disrespect and disdain of these militia fuckers for the federal government is especially strong because they believe that government is too big and too corrupt and takes too much of their income through taxation. This is another thing that drives me crazy. We are one of the least taxed populations on earth. Americans. Anyway, Amy points out the militia members' negative beliefs about immigration, which they think will help protect the country, against all the coloreds. It could lead them, these militia scum, I'm talking about, these proud fuckers, and I don't know. I don't care about their names. They're a bunch of just bullshit baby boys who dress up, try to be like men. But it's going to lead them to join this national mass deportation effort. Because there's no better place when you're a cowardly fuck like some of these militia types, no better place to hide than in the middle of a mob. Yes! Where they can scream and raise their fist and shake their knives or guns or ropes or whatever and pretend like they're real men. Put me in the middle of a crowd. I don't want anybody to see me. You bastards. And as Amy Cooter wrote, her research found that militia members generally believe the lies put out there, for example, by this orange son of a bitch, that undocumented migrants are a threat to public safety. We just had a trial here in Georgia that Trump and the scumfuckers on the right raised to some kind of an iconic moment. A young white woman student, University of Georgia, went out and was jogging, and a man attacked her. And when she wouldn't allow him to rape her, he killed her. And the sentencing phase of his trial was just last Friday. I think he was sentenced to life in prison without parole. And the fact that he was an undocumented migrant was exactly the kind of bloody red meat that these fucking right-wingers they just lust after. See what migrants do? No, you dumb bastards. This is what one fucked up man did. But it gets lost. Anyway, Amy Cooter says that for some people, some of these militia fuckers, and this is according to her research, by the way, the perception that migrants are a threat to public safety is rooted, first of all, in racism. Of course, racism. You don't see these militia types going after immigrants from, I don't know where, Canada? Although Trump says he's going to start closing that border too. But you never see the militia types screaming and shaking their goddamn fists at people from Norway. No, unless they have a good suntan maybe. But people who look like they're a person of color. Oh, well, there you go. A lot of these militia members misunderstand. They don't give a shit because they're thick-headed dumb fucks. They don't understand what is required to obtain U.S. citizenship. And they believe, these militia assholes, that anyone who enters the country illegally is by definition, according to Trump, Lord God, Christ, Master Jesus Trump, by definition a criminal and has therefore already proven their intention to not follow our laws and not be a good white American like the militia types. Of course, this is bullshit because so many migrants may be seeking asylum, regardless of their immigration status, for up to a year before entering the country. But, these are, to these dumb-ass right-wing militias, these are distinctions without a difference. They don't get that. They never stop to think this shit through. Hey, look, there's a brown one. Ask him for his papers. Let's run up to him and say we're from immigration. Scare the shit out of him. Come on, boys. Members of militias with both sets of motives, their racism and their bullshit fear about crime. They believe that undocumented migrants are taking jobs away from white people like them. And they believe that the migrants are receiving unearned benefits from being in the country. Oh, yeah, of course they are. And as far as taking jobs, which one of these militia scum wants to pick up a fucking blower or a rake or ride a mower and go clean up people's yards? Which one of these fuckers want to go to work in a chicken slaughtering plant? Give me a break. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. The Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.